Hey everyone, Erica here, and I am back today with another video for you. So this is going to be the first video in my Being the Bride segment that I'm going to be doing here on my channel. I'm not going to be doing a ton of these videos, but I will be putting out a few for my fellow brides out there, or just if you are just obsessed with wedding planning like I am. I just so happen to be a bride and I just am obsessed with wedding planning, so for me, I would watch these either way, but whatever the case may be for you, this is something that I asked if you guys would be interested in seeing, and I did get some thumbs up saying that this is something that you guys would like to see, so here I am. So with all that being said, today I'm going to be speaking with you about our engagement story. I figured that if I'm going to be sitting here talking to you about my wedding experiences and giving you the best knowledge I can possibly give you, I should probably fill you in and give you a little bit of a background story on JD and I, and what better way than setting the stage for you and just telling you how he proposed. Who doesn't like to hear a great proposal story? I love to hear proposal stories personally. I'm just such a helpless romantic, and I love, you know, how guys can just be so vulnerable and just plan such a romantic and magical moment for the woman they love. So if that is something that you guys are interested in hearing or seeing me talk about, then please continue to watch this video. Thanks, guys. Okay, so let me give you the 411 on how JD popped the question. So my maid of honor, Crystal, and I do this thing every year on February 13th, the day before Valentine's Day, and we call it Galentine's Day. If you watch Parks and Rec, you know where that's from, but it's just kind of like a Valentine's Day for your girlfriends. So her and I celebrate Galentine's Day on February 13th. Her and I were going to go to dinner and do what we do every year. This year, her husband, Ryan, who just so happens to be one of JD's best men. JD has two best men. I'll get into that in another episode. But Ryan, which is my maid of honor's husband, is one of JD's groomsmen. So needless to say, they're good friends as well. Well, the boys just had to like crash on our party. So, of course, they were like, oh, we want to go, like, we're going to have a Manentine's Day, trying to be, like, creative and, you know, take our thunder and whatnot. So, pretty much Crystal and I just let them because, let's face it, they're toddlers and they want to be involved. Just kidding. We were more than happy to have them tag along. We, you know, were talking about where to go and whatnot. I think I was the one who suggested Seaport Village here in San Diego because it's one of San Diego's, like, gems of this city. That's just always how I felt. I love Seaport Village. It's right on the water, and there's restaurants and little shops and a ton of dessert places. I mean, let's face it, that's why I go there sometimes, is to get the Ben & Jerry's ice cream. Let's just be honest about it. These pants are like, ugh. Out of all of the girls, you're my one and only girl. Oh my god, my bun moves when I lift my eyebrows. So, with all that being said, yes, we all know I have a sweet tooth, or if you didn't know that, now you know. Anyway, I had suggested we go to Seaport Village for dinner. So Crystal said, hey, perfect, what about the Harbor House? And if you aren't from San Diego and you aren't familiar with Seaport Village, the Harbor House is a big old restaurant right in the middle of Seaport Village, which overlooks the water, and it's beautiful. It's just a very romantic place to be just in general. It's really beautiful, and it was a perfect place for this occasion that we were going to be having together. So let me give you a little bit of a side note. We made these plans to go ahead and go to the Harbor House on February 13th, which was a Thursday this year. Crystal had told me that Ryan, her husband, really wanted to go to a nail salon to get a pedicure. I think he had broken something was wrong to where his foot was in a cast. So she was telling me that he needed a pedicure so bad because his toenails were like little razors and they were just not cute, and he was going to get his cast off. So he wanted like a pedicure to get that taken care of. So when the cast came off, it was like clean. Whatever, you get it. She needed him to get a pedicure. And Crystal's not really like the girly, like, let's go get our nails done. And she knows I'm really like that. So she asked me to take them to my salon and she would treat me to get my nails done. I'm like, fine, I'll take you guys. Like, it's not a big deal. But I just figured, hey, you know what? She's not good at like the whole nail salon thing. I'll just show her the ropes. We went and I got my nails done. I didn't let them pay for me, if you're curious about that. Like, dang, Erica, you're going to charge them just to, you know, show them the way around the nail salon? No, I pay for myself. Crystal always goes above and beyond, but that is just something that I will have to get into in another video because I can go on and on. Maid of honor, shout out to you. I love you with my whole heart. So anyway, we're at the nail salon and we're getting, you know, Crystal was next to me getting a manicure, and Ryan was like enjoying himself way too much in the spa seats, like getting his pedicure. And I see him on his phone and I'm like, are you and Crystal really texting each other and you're like 5 feet away from each other? And they're like, yeah, we are. Like, it was so funny. And I'm like, you guys are big time losers. So anyway, that was kind of that. I didn't think much of it. I'm like, oh, sure, no problem. Like, you guys should totally come here from now on. I love the salon, blah, blah, blah. End of the story. Well, come to find out, my maid of honor is so amazing that she wanted to be sure that my nails were done before I got engaged, so that when the pictures came out, it would look so amazing because my nails were done. So if you are a maid of honor, please just figure out a way to get your bride to get her nails done, because that was just genius, and it just so happened to work out that Ryan really was getting his cast off, and I totally believed it. So props to my Mo. So back to the story. We go ahead and it is Thursday night and JD and I are getting ready for dinner. And I'm asking him what to wear and he tells me you should wear this dress. And I'm like, okay, perfect, whatever. So we're going and he is like abnormally quiet. If you know JD, he is already pretty mellow and laid back, and he's only really like goofy and super talkative if he knows you really well. Otherwise, he's kind of like shy, but for him this was like, ooh, you're like super quiet, what's going on right now? So I don't know, I just figured he was tired, whatevs. So we're in the car and I'm texting Crystal, hey, we're on our way, and she's like, hey, we're already here, we're taking pictures out by the pond. And I'm like, okay, that's so weird because Crystal is so Mexican and she is so late for everything. So I was like, why is she there on time? This is really weird, but I still didn't think anything of it. So when we get there, we walk up to them and I see them over the pond. So since obviously some of you watching this aren't, again, from San Diego and don't know what this is, it's like a man-made little pond that a little bridge goes over. And it's a really nice scenic spot because if you go just a little further, the ocean's not too far away. So they were taking pictures there and I was like, oh, cool. You know, like, let's take pictures with each other. Like Crystal and I took some pictures, and I took a picture of her and her husband, and then JD and I took a picture. And then, you know, that took up some time, and then by the time we were done taking pictures, they were like, oh shoot, we're late for our reservation, so we booked it to the restaurant. So we're eating and like no big deal, and all of a sudden Crystal gets a call and she's like, oh, hold on guys, it's my brother, I'll be right back. So she leaves the table and Ryan's like, dang, rude, answering your cell phone. You know, like, we're having like a double date and you're being rude like on your phone. So Crystal gets up and takes the phone call. She comes back and she's like, you guys, I have some annoying news. My brother, he was out drinking and, you know, in Encinitas, which is pretty far from here. If you don't know the area, it's about like an hour and a half away. My brother was drinking and the car broke down and he's on the side of the road and he needs me to go pick him up. And Ryan's like, oh my God, are you kidding me? We don't need to go pick him up. That's ridiculous. And I'm like, yeah, Crystal, that's such BS. You know, he's old enough. He should know better. And she's like, I know. And I'm like, what about your parents? Well, they're out of town and they went here. And I'm like, well, what about your sister? Well, she's staying with her boyfriend and all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess you should go. And we're like, okay, be the good sister, go pick him up. They're like, we're sorry, we'll reschedule with you guys. This sucks. So I'm still not thinking anything of it because I don't know. It takes a whole lot to get anything by me. Like JD cannot even lie to me about what he had for breakfast, let alone like pull off this whole facade. So they sold it really good. Maybe I'm not selling it to you because you know what's coming. But to me, I'm like, oh, this is annoying. I can't believe they're ruining our, Galentine's Day / Manentine's Day dinner. This is so annoying. So they leave and JD's like, well, you know what? Let's just like finish dinner and then maybe we can go and get, like Ben and Jerry's. Let's go get an ice cream or let's go get dessert or go walk around. And I'm like, okay, fine. So mind you, JD ordered a beer like this size at dinner. That should have given it away because he was so nervous. He had like a huge beer and I'm like, are you going to relax today? Is that what the deal is? But later on, I figured it out. Obviously, he was a teensy bit on the nervous side. So we finish up dinner and JD's like, okay, well, let's go walking and let's go, get some dessert. And I'm like, okay, first of all, I am so full. And second of all, I'm wearing like 12-inch heels. Little dramatic, but you get the gist. Huge heels. And I'm like, I'm not walking anywhere in these shoes. And he's like, well, maybe let's just go take some pictures by the bridge then. And I'm like, why are we going to go take more pictures at the bridge? We already did that with Crystal and Ryan. He's like, well, come on, let's just go. And I'm like, fine. So poor guy. Now, when I think about it, he was probably like, dang, can I get a break? So we end up walking to the bridge and he puts his arm around me and we're, rib cage to rib cage. And the next thing I feel is like his heartbeat is like, dun, 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 dun. I'm like, what's going on here? And he starts telling me, I hope you know that I love you so much and I'm going to do everything in my power to... I'm sorry, I get really emotional when I tell this part of the story. So he's telling me, I hope you know that I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that, you always have what you want. Or he said something along those lines. It was, I hope you know that I'm always going to do everything in my power to take care of you. And I said, yeah, I know that. And he said, and that day starts today. And he got on one knee and he opened the box, the little tiny box that if you are waiting to get engaged or you're waiting to get married, it is like, I cannot tell you the feeling of seeing your boyfriend or your significant other down on one knee. And it's the feeling that you've just been waiting for so long. And when he got down on his knee, I bursted into tears and thank goodness I covered my face like this because I do the ugly Kim Kardashian cry. If you are friends with me or if you've seen me cry, my cousin tells me all the time I cry like this. I have the ugliest crying face ever. And the reason I say thank goodness I covered my face was because as soon as I said yes, JD put the ring on my finger, he got up and hugged me, and next thing I know, there's nothing but like camera flashes everywhere. And I'm like, what's going on? Do they think I'm Kim? Oh, just kidding. But I was wondering what was going on. So I look and JD tells me there's a professional photographer here to capture the moment. And that's just made me cry even more. I couldn't believe that he had put so much thought into this whole process, and it was just amazing. So the photographer comes over and she introduces herself and she says, I'm going to let you guys have a moment. And when whenever you guys collect yourselves or when you find it in your, when you're ready to go ahead and do this, I'd love to take some engagement pictures or, just capturing the moment now. Here, we're in Seaport Village. It's beautiful here, such beautiful scenery. I want to take a picture. I want to take pictures of you guys here. And I'm like, great. So she left us alone and JD and I sat on the bench there and I couldn't stop crying. Like I remember my cheeks and my jawbone physically hurting because I could not stop smiling. Like, I don't care if I sound like such a cliche. It was the best night of my life. I was so happy. I still am so happy. When I look at this ring, I remember all the thought that went into this proposal. And it is like I couldn't have asked for a better proposal. I just couldn't have. So I'm sitting down and I'm asking JD, like, is Crystal and Ryan here? And I said, is her brother okay? And he's like, that was all a lie. You know, it was all a setup. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe Crystal lied to me. So it was just funny. And they took off to give us like a moment to ourselves. And so JD and I were there. And, you know, after I had put myself together a little bit, I stopped crying hysterically. We went over to the photographer and we went around Seaport Village and took about, you know, 1,000 pictures in an hour. And, you know, we get in the car and I'm making all the phone calls. You know, JD's telling me all of his planning and all of his ideas. And he had told me that he had asked my dad for permission, but he had also asked my mom. And that also makes me extremely emotional because for those of you that don't know, my parents are divorced, but I'm still very close to my mom. So I mean, both of my parents, of course, but the reason he asked my mom is because I'm very close to my mom. So he took it upon himself to ask not only my dad, but my mom, and of course they both said yes. The thing with that is that he asked them for permission, but he did not tell them when he was going to do it, and thank goodness, because I kind of have a feeling my mom would lose her stuff if she knew. She would just be like a mess the whole day and I would have caught on. So I'm glad he didn't tell her. So good job, JD. So when we were leaving Seaport Village and, you know, he had finished taking the pictures and everything, I called my mom first right away and I'm crying and she was crying and she's like, oh my gosh, Erica, he asked, but I didn't know it was going to be today. And like, oh, how did it happen? How did it happen? Blah, blah, blah. So I told her in the best way that I could in the shortest amount possible because we had a lot of phone calls to make. But she was definitely the longest phone call. Duh. So as soon as I got off the phone with her, I called my dad and I told him, and you know, everyone was just super happy for us and it was just so much fun. Like just that whole night, if I could relive it every day, I would. It was so amazing and the emotions I felt were just crazy. It was crazy. And we get in the car and we're driving and I'm calling Crystal and I'm like, Crystal, I can't believe you guys. I can't believe you planned this. And come to find out, Crystal and Ryan paid the photographer. That was our engagement gift from them. And I also get very emotional speaking about them because they're just great friends that you just don't find. So I love my friends. They're so good to us. So we get in the car and we end up calling, you know, of course, JD's family. We call his parents and his grandparents and just anybody and everybody that's, you know, my best girlfriends, my cousins. We just let everybody know and it was so much fun. I mean, just hearing everyone's reactions was priceless. And, you know, my girlfriend is like, I've been waiting for this call. You know, some of them knew. JD had told some of my girlfriends and it was just a great time. So we get home and we walk up. It's not this house, but it was the townhouse that we were living in before. And as soon as you used to walk into my house, it was stairs right away. So you walk up the stairs and there were tea lights and rose petals all up the stairs. And when you walked into the living room, there was more trails of just roses and there were tea lights all over my house. And there was a bucket of ice with champagne in it, chocolate covered strawberries, and 2 champagne flutes from Tiffany's. So what had happened was when Crystal and Ryan said that they were leaving to go help her brother, they took off and rushed to our house and decorated the whole place for us. If you couldn't tell by now, they are amazing friends, and that is why they are high priority in our wedding party. And lastly, they made us a slideshow of just pictures of JD and I congratulating us on our engagement, and it was just phenomenal. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better plan or just anything like that. It was absolutely perfect, and I will never tire of telling this story. So I hope that you enjoyed this story. Please stay tuned for my more Being the Bride segments here on my channel, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.